Good old Zelda, the main staple of the series, the goddess herself incarnate. You can't even complete the title of the game without saying her name. That's right, hands down one of the most prominent princesses in video game history. Despite Link doing a vast majority of the legwork in most of these games, Zelda still plays a pivotal role in a lot of the games. That is, until she's not playing a role and instead being a damsel in distress. She definitely got that Princess Peach status going on. With the most recent Zelda game that features her as the main character though, she puts in way more work in this game than any other game that features her in a mainline title, and somehow she still finds a way to delegate most of the workload like battling and even puzzle solving to others. But today, we're going to be ranking all of the different Zeldas and seeing just how useful each one of them is in their respective entries. What's up guys, Tactics here with another video for you, and with that, let's not waste any more time and jump right in, starting off with Hyrule Warriors Zelda. Now if you know anything about the Warriors games, then you can guess how I feel about this particular Zelda being a part of a collection of characters that come together to combat the forces of evil by jumping from different time zones to save the day and all. Zelda and a plethora of other characters take on armies of monsters to defeat Zia, and Zelda is pretty much capable of handling herself well in the slaughtering of countless foes with her select weapon of choice. And since just about every hero in the game is able to do the same, this just makes her a part of the group in my opinion. And so with that, we're going to start off by putting her in the group project tier. Alright, next up is, wait, hold on a minute, who put this ugly thing in my list? Alright, fine. So the CDI games like The Faces of Evil has Zelda mostly taking a backseat throughout it, while Link wanders around completing quests in order to defeat Ganon that just end as anticlimactic as you would imagine, since most of the budget pretty much went into rendering these god-awful cutscenes.
I'm going to Gamelon to aid him.
But father, what if something happens to you?
I'll take the Triforce of Courage to protect me. If you don't hear from me in a month, send Link.
Now Ocarina of Time Zelda is a different kind of beast, since we only ever see this happen like once or twice in the entire series. Adult Zelda in Ocarina of Time is actually quite capable on her own. In fact, I believe it's the first iteration of Zelda who plays an actual active role in the story, since she disguises herself as Sheik. After Link wakes up from his 7-year-long nap, Sheik aka Zelda approaches Link and informs him about the state of Hyrule. And as I said before, Zelda helps Link throughout his entire adventure, teaching him the magical melodies that unlock certain temples, and even saves him from getting yeeted away by the shadow beast that comes out of the well in Kakariko. However, all of these achievements go basically out the window the moment she reveals herself to be Princess Zelda. Ganondorf wastes no time snatching her ass up as soon as he sees her put away the ball-wrangling jumpsuit. If Ganondorf was smart enough now, he would have caught her ages ago, since, well, no dude would ever put their nutsack through such turmoil. But props for Zelda still for being able to pull off the old switcheroo and going undetected for over 7 years. So I would say that puts her in a very reliable asset tier. Okay, so the next one is Four Swords and Four Swords Adventure Zelda. Link and Zelda visit the pedestal of the Four Sword and find out that the seal has been broken, and then Vati of course kidnaps Zelda. End of story. Let's move on. Okay, fine. So I guess she does do a little something at the end of Four Swords Adventure, but we're talking about right before we roll the credits, since throughout the entire journey, Zelda is basically non-existent. At the end, once Link defeats Vati, she uses her powers to seal him back inside the Four Sword and restores Link to his normal body, so that he doesn't have to deal with those alter egos anymore. Honestly though, she does basically next to nothing in this game, but she did at least do that much, so I guess I gotta give her a little bit of credit, but ultimately pretty trash tier performance. So when you think about Twilight Princess, the first thing that comes to mind probably wouldn't be Zelda, but instead the true Twilight Princess being Midna. Yes sir, Midna steals the spotlight from Zelda in this game, since she is your trusted companion, and the Zelda team had so much fun designing her character that even they must have forgot what the name of the series was for a while there. I mean, just imagine sitting in that conference room with your fellow co-workers trying to figure out what the game was you was working on again. So what's it called again? Legend of who? I forgot what she was called. Oh hell, who cares? Midna though, great job coming up with that little gremlin. Quirky attitude, the sassiness really adds a bit of spice to her character, but at the same time, you still can't help but love her. Yeah, great job guys. But no, seriously, what was the name of that other character again? But yeah, Zelda, once again, doing absolutely nothing but sitting on her hands until we bring best girl Midna to her looking a little bit pale before sacrificing herself to save Midna's life. It's almost like even Zelda knew she couldn't measure up to Midna in this game, so she just decided to off herself. But then somehow she wind up getting revived at the end of the game only to be used as Ganondorf's puppet. After slapping her around a little bit, she gets her head in the game finally, conjuring up some light arrows to bring Ganondorf down for good. Yeah, it's true she saves best girl Midna, but the lead up to meeting Zelda is just so underwhelming, and then getting used as Ganondorf's pawn does not make up for that. Absolute trash. So I'm going to be treating this second picture as the second of the CDI games, being the one of Gamelon. And honestly, I think there's like a third one somewhere in there, but man, I just couldn't be bothered to deal with the CDI games. I just don't care for them. I didn't play either of these games. Hell, I didn't even know these games existed for years. But since this technically is the first game where Zelda was the main playable character, I guess it would be just wrong to skip it. Zelda basically goes on a journey to find Link after he went missing, and she ends up saving the day in the end. I really just don't care for the CDI games, guys. So let's just give this one the rare W for Zelda and move on. And for anyone who wanted me to talk about these games for whatever reason, look, I'm sorry. I just didn't care enough about them to muster up the energy to go more in details about some of Zelda's achievements. Sorry. A Link Between Worlds Zelda doesn't really do much for me either. Most of the abilities and powers that you get for defeating you, Ganon, come from your Hyrule counterpart. Zelda gets turned into an arts museum display, and Link basically has to go rescue her and her even more edgy and angry counterpart from Hyrule. Zelda to me has no real redeeming qualities in this game, and Link has to save her and then turn around and save all of Hyrule because of Hyrulean Zelda, or aka Hilda, because she thought that it was a good idea to steal the sacred relic that the gods left for Hyrule after her ancestors destroyed their Triforce, which allows them to basically wish for almost anything when all three pieces come together. That's like gathering all the Dragon Balls to summon Shenron just so you can tell this man to kick rocks and never show his ugly mug on Earth again. The nerve of this woman. Like, who told you to make that decision on your own? Did you not consult with anybody about how dumb of a decision that would be? Like, this is the type of stupidity that gets me tight. Like, bro, who let her out of the kitchen? Okay, alright, let me calm down a little bit. But yeah, you know where I think she deserves to be on this tier list. Okay, now we're talking. Wind Waker Zelda is that other beast I was referring to earlier. The only difference between her and Ocarina of Time Zelda is that Tetra, or Zelda, didn't even know she was royalty out here in these waters. She has been sailing the seas, discovering new lands like Christopher Columbus and finding bountiful booty. That is, until she runs into this big old cock right here. I'm sure there's a joke somewhere in there. But in all seriousness though, Ganondorf has been kidnapping young girls with pointy ears and would have gotten away with it too if not for her pirate crew giving the giant chicken the business, teaching that bird not to mess with their pirate queen. After meeting Link, she helps him sneak onto Ganondorf's prison island being Forsaken Fortress to rescue his sister, and even giving him sound advice throughout his journey with the magic stone she somehow slipped into this man's trousers. After getting the Master Sword and confronting Ganondorf for the first time, Link gets the taste knocked right out of him for using that butter knife of a blade against the King of Evil. Because it don't really matter if you're man, woman, or child, these hands are rated E for everyone. And Tetra learns that the hard way. She finds out that she's Zelda, and together they tag team Ganondorf in the final battle. After getting kidnapped and having her Triforce piece stolen, Zelda really makes a comeback at the end by not just sitting on her hands to let Link do all of the work, but taking his bow and light arrows to pack Ganondorf up for good. To me, this is peak level character design for Zelda as it gets. truly an elite among the Zeldas. Next is a little fun spin-off Zelda in Cadence of Hyrule. Zelda is a part of a band of 3 that has her own unique abilities as you move to the beat, slaying monsters and moonwalking all over their corpses. I just wanted to include this iteration of her mainly just because it was a nice little game to play with a neat twist or spin on the series. But she still is a part of a group, and all of them play about the same kind of role, being necessary to the game to some degree, so I would say I would put her in the group project again. Despite loving this character design of Zelda in Oracle of Ages and Seasons, Zelda is not the main focus here, and she doesn't even make an appearance in Ages, which is said to be the more focused game of the lore in the 2 deities Din and Nehru, so yeah. Zelda, or more like Tetra in Phantom Hourglass, is pretty useless. For once, Tetra's headstrong attitude gets her into a lot of trouble that she's not able to weasel her way out of this time, and Link of course has to come save the day and save her ass as well, so once again, worthless. Alright, so now we have Link to the Past. Both A Link to the Past and A Link Between Worlds Zelda are pretty much the same to me. The only difference is that the Lorulian counterparts are not there to drag Zelda down to a new low of incompetence. At the start of the game, Zelda calls out to Link to come rescue her from prison in the castle through telepathy. How she knew Link would be able to succeed in taking down highly trained soldiers is beyond me. But anyway, after escaping through the castle tunnels and leaving her in the care of the priest at the church, Link ventures out to retrieve the 3 pendants necessary to get the Master Sword. Upon returning to the church, surprise surprise, Zelda has been kidnapped again. After storming the castle, we witness Zelda getting transported to the Dark World. Afterwards, we don't really see Zelda again until basically the end of the game once you save all the sages. Each give you a diamond or something to unlock the dungeon to Ganon's lair, but that's about it. Nothing really major to kinda help you defeat Ganon since you obtained the silver arrows from the Great Fairy, so once again overall I think this is pretty trash performance. Now I'm going to tackle both Zelda 1 and Adventures of Link together since they are essentially the same Zelda and somehow she still doesn't do anything noteworthy. In Zelda 1, she shatters the Triforce of Wisdom into pieces so Ganon doesn't get a hold of them, so Link has to go and recover the shards and defeat Ganon. In the second game, Zelda is literally asleep and is waiting for Link to get the Triforce of Courage to complete the Triforce entirely to awaken her from her curse. So basically it's like a rendition of the Sleeping Beauty, I guess. But honestly, Zelda 1 is trash and Zelda 2 Adventures of Link Zelda is worthless. Now I like Spirit Tracks, and this Zelda is the successor of Tetra, I believe. Both she and Link founded New Hyrule and wanted to connect the land with Spirit Tracks, but they begin to disappear, so she has Link escort her to the Tower of Spirits. Chancellor Cole, who was the villain of the game, attacks and steals Zelda's body to use to revive the Demon King Malladus. With Zelda able to inhabit phantoms though, she becomes an invaluable asset to Link as they travel to restore the Spirit Tracks and defeat Chancellor Cole. I think it's a pretty solid game, and Zelda playing not just an active role but one of the leading roles is a really nice breath of fresh air from the usual kidnapped princess trope. After confronting the body snatching Chancellor, you defeat him, restoring Zelda to her body and saving the day, with Zelda being with you every step of the way. Or I guess in this case a wobble, maybe that's the word. Either way, I'll give this one an elite status. So I talked about Ocarina of Time Zelda as an adult, but I think her child form deserves a little credit on her own. Zelda knew from the moment she laid eyes on Ganondorf that he was giving off some I want to rule the world kind of vibes, so she decided to tell Link about the issue and ask him to seek out the 3 spiritual stones in order to open the Temple of Time to stop Ganondorf from getting to it first. Even though her plan did fail, she still aided Link before riding off with Impa by throwing the Ocarina of Time his way and also the Song of Time. These tools helped Link countless times through his journey as both young and adult Link, even all the way through the events of Majora's Mask, so I'll say that it deserves a very reliable asset status. Breath of the Wild Zelda. Ooh, probably one of my favorite iterations of Zelda since Wind Waker. All throughout her time trying to unlock her powers, she was still doing her best to aid in the preparations against Calamity Ganon. Using that triple IQ brain of hers, she discovers the Divine Beast and somehow figured out a way to get them operational through the use of the Sheikah Slate and the help of the Sheikah tribe. Unfortunately though, Ganon had other plans. Using his malice to take control of the Divine Beast and the Guardian robots, he brought Hyrule to its knees, including Link himself. However, before the Sentinel Beam could turn Link into red mist, Zelda finally stepped forward and unleashed her powers to save her man. After laying Link to rest for his 100-year power nap, Zelda confronted the Calamity alone and used her powers to keep him at bay for exactly 100 years. But you know, it makes you wonder, like, what would have happened to her if Link hadn't woken up exactly 100 years later? What if it took him 101 years? Well, I guess he'd be waking up to a whole different scenery now, wouldn't he? Despite the game telling us this through memories though, I think it was done well, and I think it was pretty incredible that she was able to hold Ganon back for that long. Better late than never though on her powers unlocking, I guess. Had she not had a mental block for so long, she could have packed up Ganon before he eradicated over, well, half the populace of Hyrule, so I'll say she is a reliable asset. Minish Cap Zelda is pretty trash, mainly because she gets packed up by Vati of all villains and gets turned to stone no less. I mean, bruh, she didn't even try to dodge. Zelda was just sick of her royal duties as a princess and decided to become a statue instead for the garden outside the castle. We don't see Zelda again until it's time to roll the credits, so yeah, you already know what that means. Alright, now we come to the first official time, in my opinion, that Zelda gets her own game and Link actually takes a back seat for once. Like, he tries to come in every so often to steal the spotlight, but like, come on now man, I need you to chill son, quit trying to hog all the glory for yourself. Give Zelda a chance to shine, bro. Like, damn, he out here acting like he's the main character or something. Like, the title of the game is called The Legend of Link, Zelda's First Adventure. Bro, quit trying to be a hero. Get your ass out of here. But yeah, I'm glad Nintendo did this though, giving the long overdue spotlight to Zelda for once. Elite tier. Speaking of Zelda being the main character though, I could see Skyward Sword Zelda getting her own game just based on what we learned from Link's perspective. Hell, it should have been DLC allowing us to play as Zelda alongside Impa as they journey from region to region so that Zelda could be baptized in the name of Jesus to gain those holy powers, just so she could crystallize herself to wait for Link to take his slow ass time to get there so she can bless this man and his sword, giving him that last bit of strength that he needed to literally go toe to toe with the devil himself. These last few have been some bangers, and Tears of the Kingdom does not disappoint either. Her and Link start off together exploring a cave until they uncover Ganondorf's crusty, moldy carcass stretched out staring up to the heavens, begging Hylia for forgiveness. I mean, she got that man perpetually stuck in a state of playing the world's deadliest back-breaking game of limbo ever known in Hyrule's history. After Link looks at him funny, my man reanimates and put the squeeze on Link's arm and Zelda falls back in time. Centuries ago, she aided the sages in fighting against Ganondorf. That's right, she's no damsel here, playing an active role in a completely different time period before receiving the Master Sword from Link, then literally honing the sword back to its former glory by becoming a dragon. Zelda honestly risked it all here just to get the sword back to Link, even if it meant giving up her own humanity, even giving Link a ride to fight against Dragondorf before finally packing this man up. As a reward, her ancestors gave Zelda a new lease on life as a human for all her efforts. She gives Link a big old smile at the end and roll the credits. Like, how could you not put this Zelda in Elite? Truly a Zelda for the ages, and one that will not be forgotten. Say what you will about the game's disjointed storytelling and all that, but to me, it is still without a doubt peak Zelda. Alright guys, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if so, be sure to hit that like button for me and subscribe if you haven't already for more content like this if you're feeling even more generous. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving, and I've got one more Zelda video for you guys for Zelda month, so I hope you'll keep a lookout for that. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Rated E for everyone.